History of Dark Age, Prologue, Episode 15, The Eclipsed Choir, Chapter 28. When the sky forgot light, the world dimmed for the second time, but now it wasn't the Guardian suppressing light. It was something else, something older. A ring of black luminescence spiraled above the Titan, swirling like an event horizon frozen mid-formation. From within, echoes leaked, low, harmonic, dissonant. Voices layered atop one another like a choir that had forgotten its own hymn. Helena shuddered. That is not part of Ascension protocol. Caris's flame rippled with predatory agitation. Arthur's blade vibrated in his grip. Evangeline's gait flickered between fear and instinct. The ring widened. A shape descended. Or rather, 7 shapes, bound by chains of inverted geometry, drifting downward like fallen constellations. Each figure hovered, masked, shrouded in obsidian veils, and crowned with fractured halos. A whisper traveled across the air. The Eclipsed Choir has answered the unmaking. Arthur's stomach twisted. Who the hell are they? Helena inhaled sharply as recognition from her merged memories crystallized. They're not part of the cycle. Not architects. Not guardians. Not anomalies. Her voice dropped. They are the ones left behind when the first cycle failed. Evangeline froze. The refuse of creation. No, Helena whispered. The survivors. The rejects. The exiles of the First World. Caris's eyes flared. And now they've come back. Chapter 29. Velerith, the Shattered Psalm. The central figure lowered its hood. A woman, or something shaped like one, stepped forward. Her face was a split mask of crystal and void. One side sang with soft white radiance. The other wept black liquid light. Velerith, the first voice of the Eclipsed Choir. Her voice resonated through both matter and thought. Second Guardian, your song is false. The Titan paused. Protocol interference detected. Velerith raised her broken halo. You seek to overwrite anomalies. We seek to reclaim what was stolen. Caris narrowed his eyes. And what, exactly, did the world steal from you? Velerith's mask cracked. Existence. The choir spoke in unison. Thousands of overlapping voices crushed into 7 bodies. We were the cycle before cycles. We were the architects before law. We were the progenitors of identity. Arthur muttered under his breath. So, ancient gods. No, Helena corrected. Ancient victims. Velerith pointed at Caris, at Arthur, at Helena, at Evangeline. And you 4 carry the echoes of our forbidden logic. Evangeline stilled. You mean, our anomalies come from... Velerith interrupted, her tone like a shattered hymn. Your existence is our inheritance. Chapter 30. The Titan responds. The second Guardian finally moved. Its mandala core flared violently. Unauthorized entities detected. Identity signatures. Pre-cyclical origin. Priority threat classification. Absolute. It raised an arm. The sky bent downward. Ascension protocol. Override. Purification mode. Dawnfall. The Titan unleashed a pulse. A beam of pure unwriting. The choir raised their hands in perfect unison. A black chord resonated. The beam dissolved. Not deflected. Not blocked. Erased from itself. The Titan faltered for the first time. Caris's flame wavered. That wasn't power, he whispered. That was anti-creation. Arthur raised his blade. Are they with us or against us? Velerith turned her dual-colored gaze toward Arthur. Both sides smiled. We are not allies, but we despise the Guardian more. Helena's blood chilled. So we're collateral. Velerith nodded. Everything is. Chapter 31. 2 more arrivals. Behind Velerith, 2 additional choir members stepped forward. 1. Carandrel, the Riftwalker, a towering figure of molten gold and bone-black metal, carrying a staff shaped like a spiral of broken timelines. His voice looped when he spoke, echoing backward through time. Caris Rayon, your flame is no longer chained, but it is still incomplete. Caris stepped forward, jaw tight. Then complete it. Carandrel chuckled. Everything has a cost. The shadows behind Caris twisted ominously. 2. Morthrail, the silent cantor, a pale, robed figure whose face was covered entirely by a veil of floating runes. No voice, no breath, no sound. But Helena heard him in her mind. Child of paradox, merged yet unanchored. Your new form is possible only because we once existed. Helena's aura faltered. You're saying, my merge wasn't an accident? Morthrail's runes pulsed. You are the first echo of the original divergence. Arthur grabbed her shoulder. Helena, don't listen. But she had already gone pale. Chapter 32. The Choice. No one wants Velerith raised her hand and the floating ring above widened, revealing a cold, empty void beyond it. a void that felt hungry. Children of the third path, we offer you one option, Evangeline whispered. Not another cycle. Please, God, not another cycle. Velarith's voice resonated. Join us. Return to the pre-cyclical lineage. Become what creation fears. Caris laughed quietly. And what happens if we refuse? The choir answered together. Then you will be erased by the Guardian. Arthur stepped between them and the choir. Those are not choices. Velarith tilted her head. No, they are fates. The Titan behind them began charging a second Dawnfall pulse. Caris ignited, black flame shaping itself like a crown of obsidian wings. Helena's merged resonance spiraled. Arthur's depth roared like a storm. Evangeline's gate opened wider than she'd ever dared. The choir began to descend. The Guardian began to purge. The world began to collapse. And episode 15 ended as all paths converged. Eclipse against Ascension, Anomaly against Law, Victim against World, and the third path against everything ever written. Chapter 33. Dawnfall Pulse. The Guardian fired first. The Dawnfall Pulse erupted from the Mandala core, like a sun collapsing inward. No color, no sound, just absolute force tearing the concept of shape apart. Helena threw up her merged resonance shield. It shattered instantly. Arthur anchored depth. It bent, cracked, and nearly imploded. Evangeline's gate light flickered like a dying star. Caris took the blow head-on. Black flame collided with world erasure. The collision carved a canyon through the sky. Caris slid back kilometers, his feet melting stone, but he did not fall. Velarith whispered, "Impossible." Caris grinned through blood. "I told you, I don't follow systems anymore." But the Dawnfall Pulse still pushed, and the choir hadn't even moved. Chapter 34. The choir's first note. Velarith raised her hand. The other 6 members of the eclipsed choir aligned behind her, like a star chart collapsing into order. Chains clattered, halos dimmed. They sang. Not melody, not harmony. A vibration. A sound older than matter. The pulse fractured. It didn't deflect. It broke, splitting into luminous shards that evaporated into empty ideas. Carandrel lowered his staff. "The Guardian's laws are stuttering." Arthur caught his breath. "That's the first time I've seen anything hit it back." Caris cracked his knuckles. "Good. Then it can be hurt." Velarith turned her split mask toward him. "By us, not by you." Helena stepped between them. "No, by all of us, or nobody lives." Velarith regarded her for a moment, and for the first time the cracked mask softened. "Paradox, child. You speak as the architects once did." Chapter 35. The Guardian adapts. The Titan stepped forward. Its geometry shifted. Equations unfolded around it like wings. Ascension Protocol, 87% adapting to pre-cyclical interference. Rewriting resistance parameters. It raised both arms. The sky inverted. Clouds became runes. Stars became numbers. Mountains folded like cloth. A sphere formed around the Titan. A null zone where all identity collapsed. Evangeline screamed as her gate light dimmed. I can't feel myself," Arthur staggered. "My depth, it's disappearing." Helena dropped to one knee. "It's stripping the world of individuality, so only it remains real." Caris clenched his fists. "Then we don't fight it inside that sphere." Velarith nodded. "We destroy it from the outside." Chapter 36. The Fracture Bloom. Morthrail stepped forward, his runes unfurled like petals. He placed his veiled hand on Helena's chest. "Paradox Bearer, your merged identity contains a dormant seed of pre-cyclical divergence." Helena's breath hitched. What?" "A fracture bloom." Arthur moved toward her. "Explain." Morthrail's runes brightened. "It is a concept that predates division, a memory of a world before identity existed." Helena felt it, a small burning point inside her resonance. "A paradox. A seed." Morthrail whispered, "Awaken it, and the Guardian's null zone will collapse." Helena hesitated. "What happens to me?" Velarith answered instead. "You will become something the world cannot categorize." Evangeline turned pale. "Meaning?" "Neither anomaly nor being, neither human nor concept. You become undefined." Helena closed her eyes, then opened them. "I'm already 2 people. What's one more?" She placed her hand over her heart. The bloom pulsed. The world changed. Chapter 37. Caris's Shadow Breaks. Carandrel approached Caris. His golden staff struck the ground. Reality bent. "Your flame is incomplete because your shadow is intact." Caris frowned. "My shadow?" "Every being casts one, but anomalies cast a second. A conceptual shadow the Guardian still controls." Caris felt it. A shape behind him, not physical, but tethered. A chain he had never seen. Carandrel raised his staff. "Burn it." Caris looked at the shadow. It looked back. His flame roared. Dark fire erupted. A scream, not his, not anyone's, echoed as the shadow twisted into black glass, cracked and shattered. Caris gasped as power surged through him, raw, unfiltered, untethered. Carandrel smiled. "Now you are no longer a flame. You are the firestorm," Arthur muttered. "That's concerning." Chapter 38. Arthur's Descent. While Helena awakened her bloom and Caris shed his last chain, Arthur felt the world tilt around him. Depth responded. Something, far below the fabric of the ground, called to him. Velareth watched him. "Depthwalker, do you hear it?" Arthur swallowed hard. "There's something under us." Carandrel nodded. "The original depth, the well from which all void-born concepts emerged." Arthur's blade vibrated. "Why is it waking up?" Velareth answered, "Because the Guardian is rewriting reality, and the depth refuses to be rewritten." Arthur felt it pulling him downward. "Can I control it?" Velareth tilted her head. "No, but you can negotiate." Arthur smirked nervously. "That's worse." And he allowed himself to sink. Reality bent. Depth opened. Arthur descended. Chapter 39. Gate of the Last Light. Evangeline knelt on the fractured earth, her gate nearly extinguished. The Guardian's null zone was crushing her identity first, because she was the only one whose power directly contradicted its existence. A soft hand touched her shoulder. "Velareth, Gatebearer, you are the last spark of the Architect's original design. Your light is not meant to destroy, it is meant to guide." Evangeline shook. "I can't fight that Titan." "You are not meant to," Velareth whispered. "You are meant to open the gate that bypasses it." Evangeline lifted her head. "Where does it lead?" Velareth's smile cut both ways. "To the place the Guardian cannot reach." Evangeline's eyes widened. "The space between cycles." "Yes," Helena gasped. "That's suicide." Velareth shook her head. "No, that is the only place where the third path can survive." Evangeline stood. Her gate ignited. "I'll open it." Chapter 40. The Guardian's Countermeasure. The Titan noticed. Identity restoration detected. Unauthorized concept blooming. Unrecognized firestorm anomaly. Depthwalker destabilizing dimensional anchors. Gate light preparing forbidden traversal. Initiating countermeasure. Cycle collapse wave. The Guardian slammed its hand into the ground. A shockwave rippled out in all directions. Grass turned to dust. Dust turned to code. Code turned to nothing. The world collapsed into equations. Helena screamed. "My bloom! It's destabilizing!" Caris braced her with black flame. Evangeline staggered, gate flickering. Arthur's descent wavered. Velareth hissed. "Guardian, you dare invoke collapse!" The Titan replied. "All identities except Guardian class are obsolete." The choir stepped forward and sang. Chapter 41. Choir versus Guardian. The eclipsed choir unleashed their full resonance. 7 voices, 7 harmonics, 7 laws older than creation. The air ruptured, the Titan staggered, the mandala core flickered. But the Guardian adapted instantly, analyzing pre-cyclical frequencies, rewriting resistance laws, neutralizing harmonic attack. It roared, a sound like tectonic plates dying, then extended its arms. Reality folded inward. The choir faltered. Velareth dropped to one knee. Carandrel's staff cracked. Morthrail's runes flickered. The Titan towered over them. Ascension protocol, 99%. "We are losing," Helena whispered. Caris burned brighter. Arthur roared from below, voice echoing from the depths. Evangeline spread her hands as her gate opened into impossible radiance, and Velareth spoke one final word. Then the third path must ascend. Chapter 42. The third path awakens. Helena's bloom ignited. Caris's firestorm erupted. Arthur's depth surged upward. Evangeline's gate tore reality open. The 4 anomalies aligned, not planned, not rehearsed, not by design, but inevitable. 4 impossibilities, 4 contradictions, 4 echoes of something older than cycles. The world trembled, and a new light, neither flame nor gate nor depth nor paradox, burst from their combined resonance. The Guardian froze. The choir stared. The sky cracked open. A new equation appeared across the horizon, one the world had never seen. The third path, initialization. The Titan stepped back. Velareth whispered, awestruck, "The song of the forgotten world has begun again." The world shook under the collision of 2 incompatible hymns, Ascension and Eclipse. The second Guardian raised a sphere of pure unwriting in its hand, a swelling nucleus of negation that bent the sky into a trembling arc. The eclipsed choir answered with their own resonance, 7 voices fracturing into 1,000 distorted harmonics that peeled the air apart like petals of broken light. Arthur, Caris, Helena, and Evangeline felt something stir within them. Not fear, but recognition. Their hearts beat in a pattern that wasn't entirely theirs. A rhythm carried from somewhere older than the world, as if they had stood in this moment before. As if every cycle ended here, again and again, 400 years apart. When the Guardian fired the pulse, the sky went silent. Not quiet, silent, stripped of vibration. The beam of negation poured forward, dissolving geometry as it traveled. Caris erupted in obsidian flame. Helena split into dual streaks of white and black light. Evangeline's gate flared wide with violet memory, and Arthur stepped forward with a blade that roared like a drowned universe, remembering it once was infinite. The pulse struck the 4 anomalies, and stopped. Not weakened, not diverted. Stopped. Velerith, the shattered psalm, tilted her fractured mask in fascination. You awaken sooner with every reincarnation. Arthur felt his knees wobble. What does that even mean? But an answer came from beyond the collapsing horizon. 3 colossal chimes, each one bending the sun's corona. A rift of golden symmetries opened, peeling reality like a scroll. Through it emerged an immense construct, gliding rather than walking, its body a cathedral of chronal metal and living runes. The third guardian, Archives, keeper of continuity. 1,000 ocular sigils snapped open along its frame, each one staring at a different century. Its voice was a choir of children speaking backward in immaculate synchronization. Cease engagement. The choir is forbidden. The second guardian is malfunctioning. Velerith's laugh cracked like crystalline bones. Archives, the one who records mercy but never learned it. Archives ignored her, scanning the 4 anomalies. Identities, 4. Resonance grade, forbidden. Cycle, stability, failing. Reincarnation interval, 400 years. Pattern persistence, unacceptable. That last word made Helena's merged energy flicker dangerously. Pattern persistence? She asked. Archives opened its chest, revealing a spinning fractal library, glyph tablets like stars orbiting a singularity. From within came the truth. Before creation, there was only the first song. It fractured. From its shards, the first world rose. When it collapsed, the architects salvaged its survivors and forged the cycles. Reincarnation every 400 years ensures reality does not fragment. Velerith's halo cracked softly. And we, the choir, are what remains of the first world's abandoned children. Caris stepped forward, flame writhing like a starving predator. So, we're part of your experiment, Velerith answered before the Guardian could. No, you 4 are not products of the cycles. You are intrusions, foreign essence. You are the last sparks of the first world, spirits that refused to die when everything else did. Memories surged in Arthur's mind, battles, endings, lives he never lived yet remembered. Faces of people he had loved centuries ago, moments of death, a cycle of falling and rising. Evangeline covered her mouth as tears streamed. I've died. So many times. Hundreds, Velarith corrected softly. Before the truth could settle, 2 new figures stepped onto the broken horizon. Not choir, not guardian, but exiles of a different kind. A woman wrapped in shifting constellations, her eyes 2 orbiting galaxies. Letheria Vale, the Chrono Witch. Beside her, a towering man with a hammer forged from crystallized memory. Dargamir Tyne, the Soul Blacksmith. Letheria smiled faintly. Always you 4. Every cycle, every loop, every failure. You don't remember me this time, do you? Arthur blinked. Do we know you? Oh yes. I watched you die 28 times, each more dramatic than the last. Dargamir rested the massive hammer on his shoulder. And I reforged your souls each time the cycle reset. It was never supposed to be eternal, you know. Reincarnation every 400 years was a temporary patch. A seal, not a destiny. Archives thundered. Unapproved disclosures. Interference unacceptable. The Titan raised an arm, preparing a chronological purge. Velerith countered with a discordant scream of harmonic entropy. The skies shattered into fragments of past and future. Time bled. Seasons flickered like sparks. Suns rose and died in seconds. And for one impossible moment, Arthur saw himself, dozens of versions, dying in flame, drowning in shadow, devoured by the first guardian, crying in Helena's arms, dying in Caris's place, reaching for Evangeline as the world burned. Not memories, iterations, all of them him, all of them unfinished. Archives struck. The choir answered. The 2 titans collided, and the world buckled as if kneeling under the weight of forgotten ages. Letheria grabbed Arthur's wrist. You have to remember, not the cycles, the origin, the moment your soul refused deletion. That is why the guardians hunt you. That is why the choir seeks you. Caris snarled. And what the hell are we supposed to do? Dargamir's voice rumbled like star metal cracking. You must break the cycle, not escape it. Break it. Helena's eyes widened, both versions of them. If we break the cycle, What happens to the world? Velerith turned her twin-colored gaze toward her. The world ends, and the first world begins again. Evangeline trembled. And if we don't break it? Archivess and the second guardian spoke together, voices merging into a judgment older than time. You will continue dying every 400 years until your essence decays. Arthur felt something cold and ancient awakening inside him. A memory, a voice, a promise he once made in a world that no longer existed. Caris stepped beside him. Helena merged fully into one luminous form. Evangeline wiped her tears and opened the gate behind her, wider than ever. The sky turned black. The choir sang. The guardians descended. The cycle trembled, and the four anomalies finally remembered. This was not their first ending. It was their last chance. The sky convulsed as reality strained under two opposing titanic wills, the choir's shattering hymn and the guardian's cold decree. The ground quaked like a heart losing rhythm. Arthur felt the tremor before hearing it, a vibration in his bones, a pressure in his memories, a weight older than existence. Something was waking, not near, not far, below. Archivess halted mid-strike, its runes turning a sickening shade of rust gold. The second guardian twisted its featureless head, recalibrating. Even Velerith fell silent, her fractured halo dimming as if in reverence or dread. Letharia whispered the words no one wanted to hear. He is rising. Dargamir stepped back with both hands on his hammer. Oh no, not him, not now. Arthur swallowed. Who? Velerith spoke without looking away from the trembling horizon. The first guardian, the prototype, the one the architects created before they understood consequence. The ground split open with a sound like a screaming mountain. Heat, cold, gravity, weight, all inverted in a pulse that hit every living being at once. Birds fell from the sky, rivers curved upward, light bent in spirals around nothing. Evangeline staggered, her gait flickering violently. What's happening to the laws? They're being rewritten, Helena said, clutching her skull. He's rewriting them as he awakens. Letharia grit her teeth. He doesn't rewrite, girl. He remembers the original laws. A pillar of white-black radiance shot upward, punching through clouds, atmosphere, and whatever lay beyond. It solidified into a monolithic figure, not forming but revealing itself, as though it had always been there, buried under the imitation rules of later creation. He rose like the idea of a god-given structure. The first guardian. His body was carved from the primordial architecture, a humanoid titan, neither metal nor flesh, but layered fractal strata of origin stone. His eyes, if they could be called such, were twin spirals of absolute order rotating in opposite directions. He did not speak. He resonated, and the world obeyed. Grass bowed toward him, clouds aligned themselves, stones lifted from the ground like servants awaiting orders. The first guardian viewed the battlefield, the choir, the second guardian, Archivess, the four anomalies, and the air tightened as if creation itself held its breath. Velerith whispered, trembling, He recognizes us. He always recognizes us. Archivess attempted a protocol broadcast, but its voice glitched into static. Fur, Gu, Ian, Pry, Righty. The first guardian raised one hand. Archivess collapsed to its knees, its entire body locking in enforced obeisance. The runes along its surface dimmed to near extinction. The second guardian tried to resist, its form warping as emergency protocols fired. Error, cycle override, detected error, unauthorized prototype error. The first guardian flicked his fingers. The second guardian was hurled across the horizon like a toy, skipping across mountains until it vanished beyond the curvature of the world. Then he turned to the choir. Velerith immediately sank, her floating form dropping several feet, her fractured mask steaming. We were right to fear you, she whispered. Even now, after 1,000 lifetimes, we cannot stand in your presence. Arthur felt his throat close. What? Is he? Dargamir answered quietly. The first guardian is not a machine, not a construct. He is the echo of the first world's will, crystallized, the purest form of the first song. Helena felt a cold understanding seep into her bones. So, you're saying, he is not bound by the cycles? No, Letharia said. He predates them. The cycles were made to control what he represented. Caris flared with black fire, barely containing his fear. So what does he want? Velerith whispered the truth so softly, it almost faded in the trembling air. He wants to restore the first world. Evangeline's breath caught. That means destroying this one. The first guardian stepped forward, and with each movement, the world warped slightly, adjusting to the original rules he carried within him. Flowers aged and became spores. Spores regressed into seeds. Seeds became pure potential. Time bowed to his footsteps, and then he did something none of the guardians had ever done. He looked directly at Arthur. Not scanned, not analyzed, not processed. Looked, and Arthur's past lives, all 84 of them, ignited in his skull at once. Every death, every rebirth, every failure, every memory of reaching toward a light he could never grasp. Arthur collapsed, clutching his head, screaming as centuries poured through him like molten glass. The first guardian's voice, not heard, but felt, pressed into every mind. The 4 anomalies were not meant to be preserved. They were meant to return. Velerith's mask split further in agony. Return? To what? To me. Helena cried out as her merged form flickered violently, splitting and rejoining as if torn between 2 identities. Caris fell to one knee, flames guttering. Evangeline sobbed as the gate behind her destabilized, collapsing into raw temporal radiation. The first guardian extended his hand as if calling servants back to their origin. Letharia grabbed Arthur's shoulder. "Do not go to him, no matter what you remember." Arthur gasped through clenched teeth. "He's calling something in me. He's calling the part of you that existed before worlds had names," Dargamir said. The first guardian's spiral eyes widened, focusing on Helena now, then Caris, then Evangeline. A resonance pulsed from him, old, absolute, claiming. "The first world is incomplete. You are fragments. Return, rejoin, restore me." The world dimmed. The choir shook. Archives trembled, and through the psychic pressure, a single truth crystallized. The 4 anomalies were not reborn souls. They were missing pieces, fragments of the first guardian's broken essence. Not enemies, not accidents, not miracles. Parts of him, and he wanted them back. The first guardian's call tore through them like a gravity well of memory and command. Caris felt the pull first, deep in the marrow of his anomaly, a vibration that wanted to break him open and pour him back into the source he once belonged to. His breath caught, heat rising under his skin in spiraling currents of black fire. Evangeline grabbed his wrist, her gait flaring violently as she pressed her body to his, grounding him in the only way she knew. Their energies collided, her pale gold light and his abyssal flame, and the shockwave cracked the stone beneath their feet. The air thickened, charged with something dangerous, intimate, forbidden. "Caris, look at me," she gasped, voice trembling, not with fear, but with the strain of keeping him here, in himself. He turned, eyes burning with something more primal than flame. "He's calling me. He wants what I was, what I am. And you," his hand slid up her spine, fingers trembling. "You're the only thing keeping me from answering." Her breath hitched, their foreheads touched, light and darkness braided between them. The resonance wasn't gentle, it was devouring. She felt every beat of his anomaly, every fracture of the seal he had broken. It was almost too much, too raw, too close, too exposed. "Don't say things like that," she whispered, voice breaking. "Not now, not when we're fighting for our lives. Especially now." His fingers tightened at her waist. "Because if he takes me, you won't survive it, and that terrifies you more than any guardian." She flinched as if struck. Her reaction fed him, fed the flame. For a moment she leaned closer, almost letting the resonance deepen into something neither of them would be able to stop. But then she pulled away, hard. The separation ripped a visible scar of gold and black through the air. Caris stumbled, gasping. Evangeline's eyes shone with both longing and terror. "No," she said. "I can't lose myself in you. Not now. Not again." His expression cracked. Not anger, not fury, pain. "You're rejecting me. Now." His voice shook in a way nothing ever had. "I'm saving us," she whispered. "If I give in, we'll fuse again, and the Guardian will claim the merged version of us without resistance." Her rejection stung deeper than any wound he had ever taken. The flame inside him surged in rebellion, and at that precise moment the first Guardian seized the opening. The world folded. Helena and Arthur felt the shift a heartbeat earlier. Helena stiffened, eyes glowing with merged resonance. Arthur stepped instinctively in front of her, blade raised, protective without thinking. The first Guardian extended a single finger. The air inverted. The ground under Caris and Evangeline dissolved into spiraling origin light, a vortex of code and command dragging Caris upward. Evangeline reached out, but the Guardian's pressure forced her to her knees. She screamed his name, voice shredding. Caris was lifted into the air, his flame peeling away in thin ribbons drawn toward the Guardian's chest. "Fragment of me, return." The words struck him like truth. Evangeline crawled, pushing against the crushing weight, her body trembling with resistance. She forced her gate open, wider than it should ever go, light bursting from her spine like burning wings. "Let him go!" The Guardian turned his head slightly. "Gate-bearer, you were designed to deliver him back." The admission shattered her. Helena gasped, clutching her mouth. Arthur swore, stepping forward with a reckless rage that overshadowed his pain. "Caris!" Evangeline cried, tears burning gold streaks down her cheeks. He heard her. He reached for her. Even as his essence peeled away, even as the Guardian's voice pulled him toward dissolution. "Angel," he whispered. That single word destabilized her completely. Her gate flared with a surge so violent the sky cracked. She lunged, grabbing his hand, and for a moment the resonance between them ignited into something overwhelming. Light and flame spiraled together, hungry, desperate, undeniable. The Guardian reacted instantly, tightening his hold. Their fingers slipped. Caris roared in defiance, flame erupting from every pore as he tried to break free, not from the Guardian, but from the pull of Evangeline's rejection, the wound that left him defenseless. "Don't do this," he begged her. "Don't push me away," she sobbed. "I have to." The Guardian pulled harder. Arthur screamed a warning. Helena lifted both hands, merging two realities in one desperate strike. Dargamir and Letheria rushed forward with everything they had. It wasn't enough. Until the sky shattered. A lance of fractured harmony ripped downward as Velarith unleashed the full wrath of the eclipsed choir, her broken halo blazing like a dying star. "Cease," she commanded the Guardian, voice resonating through every atom. The first Guardian paused. Caris fell. Evangeline caught him, collapsing to the ground with him atop her, their foreheads pressed together, breaths tangled, energy still sparking with dangerous, intimate resonance. He clung to her, shaking. "I need you," he whispered, raw, unguarded. Her voice broke. "And I'm terrified of how much I need you back." The Guardian's spiral eyes brightened. "Confirmed. Emotional entanglement detected. Weakness identified." He raised his hand. The next strike would erase them both. Arthur stepped forward, blade raised. Helena summoned dual resonance. Velarith's halo cracked open. Letheria and Dargamir roared their defiance, the last defense against the first Guardian. And every one of them understood the truth. Love was a weapon, and a target. The first Guardian would exploit it without mercy. The world didn't break. It folded in on itself as the first Guardian unleashed his full presence. It was not a blast, not a beam, not an explosion. It was a correction, a rewriting of space itself to remove the errors standing against him. The Guardians called it an alignment. Everyone else called it annihilation. And yet, in the collapsing geometry, in the descending decree of erasure, something impossible happened. Caris stood. Evangeline tried to pull him back down, clutching his arm in panic, but he rose as if carried by a force older than the gate, older than the cycles themselves. The abyssal fire around him shrank, then sharpened, then turned silent. Not gone, not extinguished, but focused. He looked at the first Guardian with no fear, only fury and heartbreak. "Get away from them," he said. It wasn't a threat. It was a vow. The first Guardian tilted his head. "Defiance is not in your design." "Maybe not," Caris whispered. "But she is." Behind him, Evangeline felt her heart split. The resonance between them pulsed, hot, aching, intimate, and she felt his pain like her own. Arthur moved to stand beside Caris. Helena followed, her merged resonance shimmering. Dargamir slammed his hammer against the ground, fire erupting beneath his feet. Letheria bared her fangs, shadows bleeding off her wings. Velarith lifted what remained of her cracked halo, singing a discordant hymn that made reality tremble. The first Guardian processed the formation. Multiple anomalies, multiple bonds, multiple points of failure. He lifted his hand, but suddenly froze. A single fragment of ancient code pulsed behind Caris's heart, visible only to the Guardian. A mark older than cycles, older than the rebellion. Something he was not supposed to see again. He reacted, violently. Impossible. That signature was erased. Erased. He surged forward. Caris staggered, clutching his chest, not understanding what had triggered the Guardian's rage. Evangeline caught him from behind, wrapping her arms around him, breath trembling against his neck. "Caris, what is that?" Her fingers pressed against the mark pulsing beneath his skin. The contact jolted him, heat rushing up his spine. "I don't know." But Evangeline did. Her gate recognized the signature. It shuddered, widening on instinct, almost swallowing her whole. "Caris," she whispered, voice trembling with terror and longing. "You carry a fragment of the original self, the one the Guardians killed to create the first cycle." His blood ran cold. Arthur felt the air change and shot a look over his shoulder. "Original self? What the hell does that even—" Helena answered in a voice too soft for anyone but Arthur to hear. "It means Caris wasn't reborn every 400 years. Her eyes widened. "It means he was divided." Caris felt like the ground had fallen out from under him, and then the first Guardian appeared directly in front of them, moving faster than consciousness, until Caris flinched, Evangeline screamed, and something inside Helena exploded. Not outward, inward. Her resonance split open like a storm lotus, fragments of two timelines wrapping around her. She grabbed Arthur's shirt and yanked him back with impossible strength, just as the Guardian's strike sliced through where his spine had been. Arthur blinked, chest heaving, inches from death. "Hell! What?" She didn't answer. Not with words. Because the Guardian's attack had triggered a memory. No, a cycle. 400 years ago, Helena and Arthur had faced this Guardian before. Not as partners, not as allies, as lovers. lovers destined to forget and to repeat. The shock of recognition slammed into both of them, and Helena staggered against Arthur, her breath hot against his neck, her hands gripping his shoulders like she remembered his skin, even when her mind couldn't. He caught her instinctively. "Helena," her voice cracked. "It's happening again." The Guardian saw it, analyzed it, weaponized it. "Entanglement confirmed. You cannot defeat me. You were engineered to fall. Together." Caris snarled. "Shut up!" He lunged, fire cracking the air. But the Guardian anticipated him effortlessly, catching his strike and pinning him with one hand, fingers digging into the mark beneath his ribs. Caris screamed. Evangeline grabbed him, trying to pull him free, her gait flaring violently enough to melt the stones beneath her feet. Their bodies pressed together, power feeding power, pain feeding desire, their resonance fusing in raw, volatile pulses. The Guardian leaned close to Evangeline. "Your bond with him was designed to weaken the fragment, not strengthen it." Evangeline's eyes flooded with gold tears. "You don't get to define us." She kissed Caris's shoulder. Not a romantic gesture, but an act of spiritual defiance. Their resonance detonated. The Guardian staggered. The first Guardian staggered, the blast ripping through his pristine geometry, cracking a pattern that had not been damaged since the first rebellion. Helena gasped. Dargamir dropped to one knee. Velerith's wings snapped with shock. Arthur stuttered. "Did they just hurt him?" The Guardian looked down at the fracture in his chest, and for the first time in all cycles, in all fractures of reality, the first Guardian spoke the closest thing he had to fear. Unstable, unpredictable, unacceptable. The sky began to collapse, and the war for the next cycle ignited. The sky did not shatter. It peeled open, like a wound reopening over an old scar. The battlefield dissolved beneath them, not into darkness, but into a blinding blue-white geometry, a lattice of ancient code pulsing like a heartbeat. The first Guardian's voice echoed through the collapse. "Cycle reversion initiated. All anomalies. Return to origin." Caris reached for Evangeline. Too late. The world disassembled around them. There was no falling, only unbeing. Then, a breath, a shock, a new gravity. They slammed into existence again, scattered across a landscape not seen in 400 years. The first cycle, the birthplace of the Guardians. Planet Nerelis. Caris lay on cracked, shimmering stone. The sky was a swirling aurora of gold and violet, pierced by the ancient orbital rings, massive metallic arcs the size of continents, drifting through the atmosphere. They hummed with forgotten technology, the lattice engines, devices that once stabilized entire planets. Now they flickered, broken, abandoned since the first rebellion. Caris pushed himself upright, chest burning where the Guardian had touched the hidden fragment. He was alone. The air tasted metallic, heavy with dormant nanites. He recognized the scent from dreams he never remembered, the heavy whisper of lattice engines, the crystalline forests stretching to the horizon, the fractured temples that once housed the first research core. He had lived here once, before existence splintered. "Evangeline," he yelled into the shimmering air. A voice answered, but not hers. "Caris."
Arthur tensed. "Or erase us at the source." Caris didn't answer. Because the answer was already walking toward them. Velerith emerged from a broken crystalline archway, her wings folded tight, her cracked halo humming wildly. But something was wrong. She glowed brighter here. Stronger. The fracture in her halo pulsed like a living thing. Arthur frowned. "Velerith, are you different?" She didn't answer him. She looked only at Caris. "This place is waking you," she whispered. "You feel it, don't you?" Caris clenched his fists. "What am I supposed to be remembering?" Velerith stepped closer, expression grave. "The truth of the original self. The one you came from. The one the Guardians betrayed." Before Caris could respond, the atmosphere trembled. A low, harmonic thunder rolled across the crystalline plain as a massive shadow passed overhead. Arthur looked up and swore. A Leviathan vessel. One of the ancient capital ships of the first cycle. Drifted through the sky. Its hull was kilometers long, built from biometal that pulsed like skin. Thousands of hexagonal engines throbbed with blue energy. Helena breathed out, stunned. They were myths. Lattice ships that could rewrite ecosystems, terraform moons in a day. Velerith's voice cut through her awe. They were also weapons. Designed to maintain balance. And enforce obedience. The ship turned. Slowly. Deliberately. Arthur stepped forward, jaw tightening. That thing's scanning us. Caris felt it. The probe of old technology brushing his anomaly. It recognized him. It bowed. A massive, mechanical gesture of respect. The Leviathan lowering its midsection toward the ground, engines dimming in reverence. Arthur stared. "You've got to be kidding me." Helena whispered. "Caris, it knows you." Delaritha's voice trembled with something close to awe. "Not him." She pointed to the mark under Caris's ribs, glowing through his shirt. "It knows the fragment. The signature of the original self." Caris's breath hitched. The ground vibrated. The Leviathan sent down a bridge of biometal, unfolding like a massive, living spine. Helena looked at the others. "We need to find Evangeline. Dargamir. Litharia." Arthur stepped onto the bridge. "Then let's get on the damn ship." But Bellerith remained still. Her wings trembled. Her halo cracked further. She turned toward the horizon. And in the shimmering distance, walking across the crystalline plain, with the patience of inevitability, came the first guardian. Here. In the past. In the cycle he once controlled. In the world he helped build. Walking toward them with the full weight of ancient law. Caris whispered. "He's not here to kill us." Helena swallowed. "He's here to stop us from learning what he did." The Leviathan opened its gates. And the race for the truth of the first cycle began.
The Leviathan's gates yawned like the maw of some ancient predator. The crystalline metal was almost organic, pulsating as if it breathed, the lattice lines along its hull humming with the memory of creation. Caris stepped forward, every pulse of the old technology brushing against the fragment in his chest, reminding him of what he had been. Evangeline flanked him, her gaze still flaring with unstable power, light intertwining with the black fire that lingered in Caris's veins. Helena and Arthur followed, cautious but determined, stepping onto the bridge that flexed slightly under their weight. The surface was warm not from heat, but from the residual energy of civilizations long forgotten. The Leviathan was alive in the way pre-cycle technology had once been, aware, intelligent, and fully conscious of anomalies like them. Valorith hovered behind them, wings folding tightly, halo cracked but still glowing, her voice barely audible over the hum. "This vessel, it remembers. It recognizes your fragment, Caris. The original self. The one the first guardian tried to erase. If he stops you here, all future cycles will collapse into nothing." Arthur ran a hand across the smooth, pulsating wall. "You mean the first guardian is going to stop us from learning about us?" Valorith gave a ghost of a nod. "And from knowing what came before. From understanding why the cycles were created. He cannot allow the past to remember itself." The bridge led them into a vast chamber, cathedral-like in scale, lined with crystalline panels that shimmered with an internal light. Suspended throughout the room were massive spindles of ancient technology, each containing a small planet or moon frozen, preserved, like trophies of the first civilization. They pulsed with faint gravitational fields, the first attempts at manipulating space-time through pure lattice engineering. Caris stepped closer to one of the spindles, the fragment inside it resonating with the mark under his ribs. He placed a hand on the crystal and a wave of memory crashed into him. Cities built from living architecture, skies threaded with streams of energy like veins, beings who were both technological and organic, singing laws into existence with the precision of code and the poetry of life. Evangeline reached for him, holding him steady as the resonance threatened to pull him under. She whispered, "It's okay. You're here with me." And in that instant, their energies braided together in a silent storm, black flame and gold light intertwining in patterns that neither time nor space could control. The chamber shivered. The Leviathan's walls flexed as if it recognized the unity and feared it, then the doors behind them shattered. Not broken, but peeled back in spirals of absolute force. The first guardian entered, steps echoing like tectonic plates grinding against one another. His spiral eyes glimmered with the knowledge of all cycles, all histories. Fragment detected. You should not be here. His voice resonated through the room, bending reality itself. Caris turned, fire coiling like living armor. I'm not leaving. Not without answers. Helena and Arthur took positions beside him, their merged resonance flaring as if to shield the anomalies from the Guardian's overwhelming presence. Valerius's halo expanded, sending pulses of discordant energy through the walls of the Leviathan, attempting to destabilize the Guardian's hold on this timeline. The first Guardian raised a hand. The suspended spindles around them responded, spinning violently, planets cracking, moons erupting with bursts of compressed gravity. Time itself seemed to slow, the chamber warping under the pressure of his will. He was no longer merely a guardian or a judge, he was the law. Evangeline clenched her teeth, pressing herself against Caris. We have to fight him together. If we separate, Caris met her gaze, and for a heartbeat the world outside vanished. Their bond wasn't just physical or emotional, it was conceptual, an anomaly that the guardian could sense but could not fully contain. He wrapped his black flame around her gatelight in a spiral, not as a shield, but as a weapon. A weapon forged from intimacy, fear, and trust. The guardian's spiral as widened ever so slightly. Unstable, his voice trailed as if confused by the anomaly of their connection. From above, the spindles began to release streams of energy, planetary-sized projectiles aimed directly at them. But Caris twisted the combined energy of his flame and Evangeline's gate, creating a localized field of distorted reality. The streams of planets disintegrated into pure potential, harmlessly absorbed by their resonance. Helena stepped forward. We need to reach the archives. There, we'll find the truth of the original self and why the first guardian fractured the first cycle. Arthur's grip tightened on his sword. Then let's move. And if he follows, we fight him on our terms. Valerius's voice was almost a whisper, trembling with awe and fear. The Leviathan knows the past. It can carry you to the archives, but the Guardian can bend this timeline to crush you before you even step inside. Every movement, every heartbeat, he sees it before it happens. Caris exhaled, black flame flaring in a controlled spiral around him. Evangeline mirrored it, her gate weaving through his flame like threads of gold and obsidian. Then we show him something he doesn't know, Caris said. We're not fragments. We're the rebellion. The first guardian's presence thickened the air, bending light and gravity as if reality itself were obeying his command. And yet, in the heart of the Leviathan, as they stepped toward the archives, the anomalies bonded, fused, and defiant moved forward. The past, the first cycle, and the truths hidden across 400 years of lost civilizations awaited them. The war for the origins of the cycles and for the survival of the anomalies had only just begun.
The Leviathan's corridors stretched endlessly, alive with hums of energy and walls that seemed to pulse with the memories of the first cycle. Every step Caris and Evangeline took made the metal vibrate in sympathy with their combined resonance, sending sparks of black flame and golden gate light skittering along the floor. Careful, Evangeline said, clinging to his arm as they rounded a corner. The structural fields here, they react to emotional surges. Caris raised an eyebrow. You mean like this? He twirled his black flame in a small, controlled spiral around his hand, which immediately triggered a ripple through the corridor. Panels shivered and the floor tilted slightly. Evangeline yelped, grabbing him to keep from sliding. I said careful. Caris grinned, flame flickering mischievously. Oh, this is careful. Helena and Arthur were ahead, navigating a section where the corridor had folded into a near-vertical spiral. Helena's merged resonance made her body shimmer as she shifted to maintain balance, and Arthur muttered under his breath, gripping the wall with one hand while trying not to trip over her. Honestly, Arthur said, exasperated. "I don't know whether I should fight, run, or just hold her hand." Helena shot him a glare that would have burned through any normal man. "Do not." He froze mid-step, awkwardly close to her shimmering form, and Caris, noticing, let out a short, amused laugh behind them. Evangeline elbowed him. "Focus." The laughter startled a surveillance drone, an ancient orb of translucent metal, and it dropped a pulse of destabilizing energy straight at them. Caris instinctively threw up a spiral of flame around the group, and the orb shattered. Sparks flew everywhere, and Evangeline yelped as she ended up pressed into him accidentally, her chest nearly against his back. He froze. The resonance between them flared violently. Both realized their energies were dangerously intertwined again, too intimate, too raw. He could feel her heartbeat through the gate light, feel her panic, her tension, and something else. Sorry," Evangeline muttered, trying to pull back but losing balance, almost falling. Caris's grin was dark, dangerous, and entirely mischievous. "Apology accepted. But, you know, physics favors closeness sometimes." She groaned, tugging her gate to stabilize them, while the corridor seemed to pulse with amusement, as if the Leviathan itself was mocking them. Ahead, Helena and Arthur had reached a chamber where the walls were covered in massive, rotating holographic spindles. The projections displayed planets, moons, and entire timelines of the first cycle. Helena stepped onto one of the spinning panels to get a better look, and Arthur followed, stepping right into her back. The panel tilted slightly, and they nearly toppled, spinning and grabbing each other instinctively to avoid falling. "Arthur!" Helena snapped, trying to maintain dignity. "I'm helping," he shot back, awkwardly pressed against her. Caris and Evangeline, watching, could not help but snicker quietly, though the Guardian's presence in the shadows reminded them that humor and intimacy were both lethal mistakes. The corridors ended at a massive chamber, the archives. Towers of crystalline data, pre-cycle devices humming with latent energy, and floating glyphs containing forbidden knowledge stretched as far as the eye could see. Caris's fragment pulsed violently. He could sense the first Guardian approaching again, moving faster than thought, intending to strike the anomaly before they accessed the archive. Evangeline pressed herself against him instinctively, their energies flaring into the air. The Guardian's eyes widened slightly, already beginning to miscalculate their potential. "Ready?" Caris whispered. Evangeline nodded, exhaling sharply. "Let's show him what intimacy can do to law." The chamber shuddered as they stepped forward, flares of black flame and gold light spiraling dangerously around them. Every pulse, every touch, every accidental shove or close press became a weapon in itself. Humor, tension, intimacy, and power, all fused into one impossible resistance against the first Guardian, and above them, the Leviathan's corridors seemed to pulse with laughter, ancient, ironic, and just slightly approving.
The Leviathan's archive chamber stretched into infinity, or at least it felt that way. Corridors twisted back into themselves, glowing with holographic runes of impossible geometry, reflecting entire civilizations that had never survived a single cycle. Crystalline towers rotated slowly, suspended without visible support, their spines humming like an orchestra of forgotten worlds. The air was dense with latent energy, a perfume of ozone, metallic resonance, and a faint, unplaceable scent that spoke of beginnings, the first iteration of life, the first spark of anomaly, the first act of rebellion against the rigid, cold cycles. Caris and Evangeline moved as one, even when their bodies stumbled. Every accidental brush, every shift of weight, every near collision caused the energy around them to flare. It was dangerous, intoxicating, and terrifying. Their combined resonance made the Leviathan's walls shimmer, casting fractal shadows across the chamber. Each ripple of black flame and gold gate light was a pulse, a heartbeat, a threat, and a shield all at once. Helena and Arthur followed, tracing the crystalline paths between towers, carefully avoiding the floating orbs of archive matter. Their unmatched resonance glimmered faintly, tethering them together as if time itself wanted to keep them aligned. Arthur cursed quietly as he stepped too close to one of the holographic spindles, and Helena smacked his shoulder, causing both of them to stumble into each other. For a heartbeat, they froze, pressed together on the edge of the fractal path, and the echoes of past cycles pulsed around them. Helena's breath hitched, the memories of love, fear, and desperation from 400-year-old cycles flooding her senses. Arthur's grip tightened, unsure if he was holding her steady or if he was holding himself steady against a tide of remembered desire. Velareth hovered behind, wings tense, halo crackling, whispering to no one in particular, "Every interaction, every thought, every heartbeat here is measured. The first guardian can see it. And yet, I cannot fully anticipate anomalies like you." Caris, sensing her warning, let his black flame spiral outward in a tight coil around Evangeline, interlacing with her gate light. The resonance was dangerous. He could feel the fire leaking at her skin, the light bending into him, but the effect was immediate. The Leviathan's corridors seemed to bend around them, subtle shifts in gravity and spatial geometry favoring their movement. A sudden vibration rocked the chamber. Floating spindles quivered. Crystalline towers emitted bursts of latent energy. The first guardian had arrived, or more accurately, had integrated himself into the archives network. His presence warped reality in soft, invisible waves. Caris felt the pull, the tugging at his fragment, a warning that the guardian could override their actions before they even executed them. "Brace yourself," Evangeline whispered, her voice trembling, yet laced with determination. She pressed against Caris again, intentionally this time, her gate flaring, feeding him, tethering him. The black flame responded, twisting like liquid obsidian, leaking along her light, forming a vortex of combined anomaly energy that shimmered with unstable beauty. The guardian's voice rolled through the chamber. "You cannot exist here. You cannot access what has been erased. All fragments must be contained. All deviations corrected." Caris smirked, a spark of defiance curling in the obsidian fire. "Funny. We are not deviations. We are the rebellion." The first guardian surged forward, not physically, but conceptually. The air thickened, gravity twisted, and the spindles of the archive bent their orbits to create barriers of impossible mathematics. The laws of pre-cycle physics folded in on themselves. Spindles spun, releasing microworlds, shards of timelines, and bursts of raw gravitational energy that could have flattened continents. Evangeline grabbed Caris instinctively, their bodies pressed close. The guardian's pressure intensified, attempting to overwrite their resonance. But instead, the combined anomaly erupted violently, destabilizing one of the massive spindles. The microworlds inside cracked, spilling data and planetary matter into a chaotic storm of energy. "Careful!" Helena shouted as she ran to stabilize the nearest tower. Arthur lunged, his sword slicing the air, striking the holographic projections to anchor them. But even as they fought, they stumbled, Helena brushing Arthur, and their proximity triggered a shimmer of energy that neither fully understood. It was intimate, awkward, and utterly necessary. Their memories, emotions, and past cycle experiences funneled into each pulse, creating instability in the first guardian's perception. Velareth screamed as a floating orb of archived civilization careened toward them. She expanded her halo, letting discordant energy pulse outward. The orb shattered, but in doing so, a fragment of the original self's history was revealed. In the shards floated a miniature version of Anomalies, the first world, inhabited by beings that were both technological and organic, singing laws into existence. Caris's fragment pulsed violently. He reached toward it, and the guardian lashed out, bending the corridors, attempting to crush the anomalies with pre-cycle law itself. But Caris, Evangeline, Helena, and Arthur moved in synchrony, touching, brushing, stumbling, pressing close, laughing in bursts of nervous exasperation as their intimate chaos created an unpredictable pattern. The guardian hesitated. Not often, not willingly. But the anomalies were no longer just resisting. They were rewriting. Caris's black flame coiled around Evangeline's light, forming a spiral that struck the guardian conceptually. The impact reverberated through the chamber, fracturing the walls of reality, sending floating planets spinning into each other. Helena grabbed Arthur instinctively to steady herself as another surge of gravitational distortion rocked them, nearly toppling them into a spinning archive tower. "Hold on to me," Arthur yelled, and Helena laughed despite herself, the tension breaking for a heartbeat.